Good morning. This is Just Listen, hosted by George Live. So today is March 16th, 2026, one day before the Illinois primary. So I believe that the reels have been productive. My own personal opinion about the primary that I've shared with you is that anyone can win in the state if they have good ideas. And the partisanship and the party platforms of going with the status quo aren't working, especially you're not if your party is not winning in the state. What you actually have to do is present your ideas, buck against the system, and then become a nominee. Okay, so here's what's happening in Illinois. Okay, so as you are aware, tomorrow is Illinois primary day. Yay, yay. So we're finally there. The time seemed to go by pretty quick, too. Um, I was trying to see over the weekend if anyone else put any advertisements out there, and it looks like that only the Democrats were doing that. There's a pretty interesting Democratic Senate primary going on, so they've been going back and forth there. And also, I've noticed that the Republicans, especially the Senate candidates, have been very quiet. And I'll talk some more about that at the end. Okay, so the candidates are primarily focused on immigration enforcement and the cost of living crisis going on in the state, public safety, and tax relief. Okay, so on the Democratic side, they are talking about ICE and campaign finance. Now, one of the candidates wants to abolish the ICE agency, and the other one wants to just reform uh, Trump's ICE, as they called it. Okay. And then the third candidate wanted to dismantle the Department of Homeland Security. Now, this is what the Democrats are talking about for the Senate. If they win, this is what they stand for. All right. So they also are talking about economic plans. What is their economic plan? Their economic plan is to raise the minimum wage, federal minimum wage, between $17 and $25. And then for healthcare, they want Medicare for all. And then the other candidate running for Senate wants to lower costs through competition and supply. All right. So, also to note, in the Senate race, like I said earlier, the governor has the person that he is promoting, and he has done statewide ads to promote that candidate. I thought that that was interesting. Okay. Now, as you are aware of now, and if you don't know, I will tell you again, on the Illinois Democratic side for governor, the Democrat is running unopposed. So Governor Pritzker, he'll be on the ballot tomorrow for the primary, and nobody is running against him. So I guess his people think that he is in a great position. All right. So here is what he wants to do: soft on crime policies and criticizing the Safety Act. That's what the Republicans are talking about for governor. They've been laser focused on that. So it's four of them running in the primary for the Republican nomination for governor. And they are talking about soft on crime policies and the Safety Act. Taxation and spending. All right. So the Republicans for governor want audit state spending, veto tax increases, and cap property tax rates to combat Illinois high cost of living. Now, they also want, and we're saying all of them here, for governor on the Republican side, repealing the Illinois sanctuary state laws and supporting federal immigration crackdowns. Now, in the other key races, there's state comptroller and also uh, the governor is promoting in statewide ads who he wants to run. And I think that that is very, very interesting. All right. So the what the General Assembly is working on is the budget, and they are getting ready to complete the committee hearings in Springfield, which we should be interested in because when they are addressing the state budget and deficit, as we know, they are currently negotiating a 2.2 billion to 3 billion budget shortfall. And what that means in committee is, well, what are they going to cut? Or what are they going to do in general? So the governor proposes a modest funding increase for higher education and public services. Okay. And then insurance reform proposes to give Department of Insurance more power to regulate and transparency into rate hikes. So this is what your legislature in Illinois is working on. And then to generate the revenue, they are exploring a potential millionaire's tax for property tax relief and adjusting corporate taxes. So they want to start taxing people who make over a certain amount of money. I don't think that there's such thing as a millionaire's tax because of the way that the tax system works, meaning that they end up taxing anybody who makes over $60,000 a year. All right. They want to repeal temporarily the grocery tax, and we're still talking about the legislature, 1%, but the municipalities, if they still need the additional funding, they will actually raise it in the local areas. Technology and AI, new laws that they want to make energy changes, and those are related to the data centers. They want whoever's running those data centers to pay more money. And then the local infrastructure, rename and expand Springfield's Mid-Illinois Medical District to revitalize the downtown area. Now, we live in Southern Illinois. Show of hands of how much of that will affect us besides the tax part, which would just be 1%. And this is still in committee. They actually haven't passed that yet. And as I've told you, there's a reason why. Now, I want to spend the rest of the time talking about the legislature. The legislature has 118 seats up for grabs. That's the Illinois Legislature House of Representatives. That's a lot of seats. The Illinois Senate has 39 of the 59 seats up for election. Now, this hasn't gotten much press. And the reason why I would say is that they don't want the public to know in these midterms that I've been talking about and voting in the primary. It's important to look at what these candidates are talking about. When I'm talking about what the legislature is doing, the Democrats have a super majority in the legislature. And I'm told you what they are currently talking about that are their priorities for this upcoming year. And this is an election year. And you would think that they would be talking about getting property taxes down, getting the gas tax down, etc. So this is your chance to pick a candidate and position that candidate to talk about affordability items for you that are going to impact us in the state. So if you look at the federal elections, the primaries in the Senate race, it looks like that the Republicans really aren't doing much, and they are focused in Chicago area. And it is mind-boggling to me why they're not trying to generate interest in this part of the state. There are patches, huge patches of moderate conservatives in Southern Illinois that could at least help them make the election closer. And the national issues that they are talking about that they want to promote, meaning the Democrats, should be a little bit of concern for all of us. Why? Because if the Democrats keep that governorship, there is no way that anyone is going to be a bumper zone for these taxes that they're going to have to do because there's so much in debt. So the legislature is also important because if at least we could turn some of the seats Republican, then the priorities could shift. And I'll talk about this more on Friday after the actual primaries are over. The Republicans need a strategy of phased in of how they are going to get their ideas out there. Because even if they lose the governorship, if they gain some more seats in the legislature, there's 118 seats available in the House of Representatives for Illinois and 39 available for the Senate. That's how you make the change because you know your areas. That's why I say vote in the primary and pick a candidate that shares your values. So, with that being said, I've been brief and concise. That is what's going on in Illinois this Monday, March 16th. And do me a favor, please vote in the primary tomorrow. Today, this afternoon, look at your candidates and see what you agree with them on and show the state of Illinois, the people already elected, that you are interested by voting in the primary. If you can, bring it up at least 7 to 10%. So I will talk to you on Friday and we'll see what happened. Have a great week. Today is the only cold day, and we're going to warm up. Have a great day.